Oh boy, do I have something to show you all today. This might be the most exciting and expansive update for Don't Starve Together we've received in over a year at least. We've got new biomes, new creatures, new structures, new foods, new lore. I hope you're comfortable because this is quite a bit to unpack, but I'll do my best to go through everything you need to know about the latest update, Forbidden Knowledge. And keep in mind this is all currently still in the beta branch. If you would like to play yourself or find out more, you can find a link to the forum post in the description below. If you're watching this much later on, there may also be a pinned comment below with changes that have been made since the time of making this video. So, unlike all the updates we've been seeing for the return of them so far, we're not heading out onto the water much today. In fact, we're going down into the caves to look at the new Grotto Biome, which you'll find connected to a blue mushroom forest. And the first thing that you'll notice upon entering this biome is that sanity functions much in the same way as it does on the moon. So if you have full sanity before going in, you're going to be completely loony in the grotto, meaning gestalts are going to be chasing you and making you sleepy. The flora of this area is dominated by lunar mush trees and light flowers, but neither of these are as straightforward as they seem. Chopping the lunar mush trees releases lunar spores that burst after a short time of being near the player or another creature, dealing 10 damage each. If you're not careful, you could very well be killed before you manage to chop this tree down, but if you survive, you'll get a Moonshroom and some logs. The Moonshroom is also part of a new crockpot dish, which we'll discuss later on. The light flowers are also deceiving since some of them aren't actually flowers but are instead bulbous light bugs. And while you can't stuff these guys into your miner hat or lantern, you can catch them with a bug net, resulting in this lovely little formation of bugs that follow you around, lighting your way. You may also notice these pools of water in the grotto called vitrioases, and you can mine the clusters that grow there for glass shards. These clusters will grow back as well, making them a nice renewable source of glass that you can gather without having to make the trip to the moon. Earthquakes are also slightly different here in the grotto, and instead of dropping the standard complement of rocks, flint, niter, etc., you can now get more glass, carrots, and stone fruit, which is a fantastic addition since it tends to go pretty quickly from the lunar islands if you play with a lot of people. Alright, so you've probably seen these guys walking around by now and are wondering, what the heck is that thing? Well, that, my friends, is a mush gnome. They're neutral creatures that waddle around, leaving lunar spores behind them as they go. And I just love them. They don't really have anything going on, they don't have places to be or things to do, they're just kind of there, much like me. But if you decide you do want to kill one, then you're going to have to deal with this. While they don't attack you themselves, mush gnomes pump out a bunch of lunar spores as a self-defense measure, making it harder for you to land hits on them. Killing them though will give you 1 or 2 living logs, as well as a few Moonshrooms to go with it. It can serve as a decent way of getting living logs early in the game when tree guards aren't very common, not to mention you can find several of these gnomes in the grotto and they eventually respawn. Alongside the gnomes you have the naked mole bats, who do attack you if you get too close, but besides the fact that they can call for more bats to pop down from the sky, they don't pose much of a threat. Sometimes they'll even find a nice place to settle down and take a nap in their little burrows. You can dig up these burrows to get an assortment of items like grass, twigs, leafy meat, light bulbs, guano, moonshrooms and carrot seeds. Killing these bats can also give you naked nostrils, which you can use in another crockpot dish that I will show you later on. But I think for now it's time to move beyond the grotto and into the archive biome, assuming you can make your way past the barrier of boulders. It really looks like this place has been sealed off purposefully, and maybe for good reason. You'll notice that your sanity switches back to its regular state as well, meaning that you'll need to be capable of raising and lowering your sanity should you wish to make your way in here with no issues. But once you get inside, just look at this place. I could spend a whole 10-minute video just dissecting every little piece of this biome, from the ancient stonework flooring that you can actually dig up, to the pillars stuffed to the brim with scrolls and text from what I assume was the ancient civilization, This place is a gold mine for lore and looks magnificent as well, and sometimes you just have to stop and give credit where credit is due. But what is the purpose of this place? Why are we here? Well, as far as I can see, there are two main reasons for making your way to the archives. The first requires you to bring an iridescent gem, deal with a powerful guardian while solving 3 puzzles, and the second requires you to cook a nice meal for these moths with dusters for arms. So these dust moths walk around the archives cleaning all the statues and mirrors and stuff. Sometimes it makes them sneeze, which is the cutest thing, and one day I'll find a way to take them back with me to my base. But if you feed them a special meal of ambrosia, they'll start collecting thulecite fragments for you, which you can mine from a deposit at their tidy hidey hole when they're done. They won't do this forever though. Each plate of ambrosia will result in just the one deposit for you to mine. There are quite a few of these dust moths, so you can get a fair few chunks of thulecite if you really want to. The recipe for ambrosia is quite expensive, however, requiring collected dust, a new refinable material made from salt crystals, rocks and niter. You can practically put anything else in the crock pot though and it will still make this dish, and if you don't have a crock pot handy, don't worry, there are a few scattered around in the archives for you to use. They even come with collected dust ready to go, and they look magnificent. Sadly, you can't build them yourself. Ambrosia never spoils, but it's inedible. I mean, it's basically rocks. You can give it to rock lobsters though, if you would like to, but I'm not sure why you would. And speaking of rocks, the archives are immune to earthquakes, and nothing will fall from above as long as you're inside. And now that you've made friends with the dust moths, it's time to take a look at the puzzles. Somewhere in the archives lies the archive switch, with 2 iridescent gems loaded onto it. Adding a third one will flick the switch to turn on the power, but also the defenses, and it makes a really ominous sound while doing that. What the fuck? Security pulses will come out of the ancient guard posts that you walk past to patrol the corridors of the archives. While not causing any direct harm to you, they will hinder you later on. There are also a few of what look like water coolers that dish out distilled knowledge. This is necessary to be able to use the archive orchestrina, which you can also find in here. But remember that guardian I was telling you about? Well, you'll need to deal with them before you have a chance of attempting the puzzle. And the ancient centipede has a melee attack, a stomp attack, and this rolling move. But the worst thing is I haven't been able to find a way to actually kill it. You see, when you get its health down to 0, it goes into a kind of stasis mode where it's invulnerable and waits for those pulses to come around and wake it up. So depending on how many pulses are roaming around, you may have a very short window to complete this puzzle. Interestingly, you can stop these pulses from being released at all by just not walking near enough to the guard post to trigger them. This will result in the centipede not being activated at all and allow you to complete the puzzle unhindered. Alternatively, you could try freezing it repeatedly, which seems to work well enough. Also, you might get multiple centipedes defending the forgotten knowledge. In this world, I only had the one, but my next world had 3, so that's cool. To activate the puzzle, you need to place distilled knowledge in the center of the archive orchestrina. From there, it works like a simple memory game. The outside circles will light up in a specific order. If you step on an incorrect circle, you need to start again from the beginning until you can light them all up in the right order. Doing so with every circle will unlock the knowledge contained within the ball. Since there are 3 different types of knowledge fountains, there are 3 recipes to learn and 3 puzzles to complete, each time with a different pattern of circles. The yellow fountain will give you the recipe for the Terra Firma tamper, the blue will let you craft the astral detector, and the red will unlock the collected dust. We spoke about the dust already and its use for feeding the moths. The Terra Firma tamper is a dream come true. It is a turf crafting station. and about bloody time. You can practically make any turf in the game, surface or caves, including rocky turf. I'm not sure why something like this hadn't made its way into the game to this point, but it's the kind of thing that we'll look back on in a few years' time and say, hey, do you remember when you used to not be able to craft turfs? How outrageous. So that's that. The astral detector acts like a compass. You place it down above ground somewhere and it points in the direction of a buried object. You'll probably need a few tries to find it and some backtracking, but eventually it will lead you to 2 celestial sanctum pieces. And I think you know where this is going. You gotta bring them to the lunar islands. If you place them on their own in a celestial fissure, you get access to another lunar crafting station, but if you place them nearby a completed celestial altar and a loaded celestial tribute, the one that you get from killing Crab King with Pearl's Pearl, you get this mysterious energy, which is obviously unfinished, hence the construction tape, but this is the same kind of tape that used to cover the atrium. So, moon bus, perhaps? Who knows? In fact, there's another foreboding structure that is currently inactive as well. Back in the archives, there is a sealed portal that I imagine will not remain sealed for very long, but currently there isn't a way to open it that I know of. And if you thought that was it for this update, oh no, there's more. After powering up the archives, a battle will begin in the grotto between shadow creatures and greater gestalts. Terror beaks and crawling horrors will pour out of the nightmare fissures that form near nightmare ramparts to fight the greater gestalts who act as guardians of the archives and the knowledge within. You can get involved in this battle if you wish, and some of the shadow creatures will still attack you, but interestingly, if you hold out a dark sword or wear knight armor, the gestalts will see you as an enemy and turn on you too, dealing a whopping 180 damage per hit, making short work of most characters with no armor on. It's also worth noting that you can in fact collect nightmare fuel from the shadow creatures that the gestalts kill, and there will be many, so you can just sit back and harvest fuel without doing much of anything at all. You can also fight the greater gestalts, but after a few hits they disappear and reappear with full health, and I don't think they even drop anything, so it seems quite futile to do so. And taking an iridescent gem out of the socket while turning off the security in the archives doesn't seem to stop the battle from taking place once it's started, so if you're not ready to turn the grotto into a war zone, you probably want to hold off from flicking the switch. And remember how I mentioned that there were a few crockpot dishes? Well, besides the ambrosia, which you can't eat, there's another dish involving moonshrooms. In fact, it requires one of each different mushroom to make a mushy cake, which is quite possibly the largest meal I've ever seen. It only gives you 25 hunger though, and 10 sanity, but it makes you immune to falling asleep for a day, which can come in handy if you're wandering around the grotto or on the lunar islands, but you can also use it to help fight bear in winter, for example, which is kind of fun. Feeding this to the pigs doesn't seem to give them immunity to sleeping though, in case you're wondering. The moonshrooms themselves also have an effect on sleepiness. If you eat one raw, it will give you 10 sanity and 12.5 hunger and make you groggy. If you eat a few very quickly, it will put you to sleep. Eating a cooked moonshroom will remove grogginess at the cost of 10 sanity and 12.5 hunger. You can also feed these mushrooms to pigs or other creatures that will eat it, like bear or even the naked mole bats, and make them sleep for a short period of time if you like. Unfortunately, moonshrooms cannot be grown in mushroom planters, so you're going to need to visit the grotto if you want to get some. And there's yet another crockpot dish to make, this time using the naked nostrils. Combine them with a dairy item, kelp, and any filler, and you get the milkmaid hat. This hat literally feeds you slowly for about 4 minutes, giving roughly 200 hunger in total at the cost of a small sanity drain. It only spoils when you wear it, meaning you can collect and store them if you like. It doesn't bypass Wartox's hunger penalty sadly, and Wigfrid can't wear it at all, but Wirt, Walter and Wiley have no issues with the hat. Also, I'm not sure if it's a bug or not, but pigs don't seem to be able to wear it at this point, but honestly I wouldn't be giving it to them anyway. As someone who forgets to eat all the time and loves to collect hats, it really feels like they made this one for me. So thanks, Klei. And also thank you for overhauling the hosting menu. You can now have an unlimited number of save slots, which is about 4 years overdue, and you can sort them by date or by day count, which is pretty neat. Overall, I'm kind of blown away by the depth in this update. You can see for yourself, this video is probably twice as long as some of my previous update videos, and there are probably many things that I've missed or had to skim over to get through it all. It also comes with a big teaser of awesome things to come with both the sealed portal and the mysterious energy. I am super excited for what's coming next. And we also have Halloween soon and Winter's Feast around the corner. It's a good time to play Don't Starve Together right now, it really is. And thank you guys so much for watching the video. Let me know what you think about the update and if I missed anything. You can also catch me live on Twitch playing all this stuff as it comes out. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Take care.